There are a ton of lost episode stories online that anyone can read, and today we're going to be going over the Spongebob creepypasta called Goodbye Gary. Remember that this is not a real lost episode and it is merely a fictional story, so don't treat it as fact. As for how entertaining it is, that's for you to decide, but definitely let me know what you think of it in the comments below. I suggest listening to the entire story just to get a better perspective on how lost episode creepypastas can play out. With that being said, let's begin Goodbye Gary, a Lost SpongeBob episode. Have you ever wondered what happens if the creators of SpongeBob SquarePants got rid of Gary the Snail? The creators made a test episode called Goodbye Gary, an episode not supposed to be released to the public. My dad works at Nickelodeon Studios and mainly worked on SpongeBob and the Loud House, but sometimes worked on other shows. Goodbye Gary was darker than the usual SpongeBob standards. Since my dad worked at Nick Studios, he would sometimes bring home DVDs of the newer episodes and some that were test episodes so he could edit them to see if there were any errors in the episode or to change anything that seemed wrong. When he got home, he put a DVD on the kitchen counter and told me that he was running out for a while. He never mentions the DVD, mostly because it looked like he was in a hurry. After he left, I grabbed the DVD off the counter, put it in my DVD player, and sat on my chair in my room to watch the episode. I was not ready for what I was about to watch. The episode started out with a title card with a pet bull with the name Gary, and above it read Goodbye, which read out Goodbye Gary. Sad violin music was playing in the background. Beginning credits rolled normally, and then it went to a shot of a pet hospital. The camera zooms in on the hospital and goes to a shot of SpongeBob sitting in what looked like some kind of waiting room. He had tears in his eyes. The episode went into a flashback scene and showed SpongeBob watching TV in his living room. A loud noise was heard from the kitchen. He got up and walked into the kitchen. He gasped and ran to the source of the noise, realizing it was Gary, foam coming from his mouth. Gary was having a seizure, and SpongeBob looked over to where he found Gary and saw the bowl upside down with green snail food all over the kitchen floor. The last part of the flashback scene was SpongeBob running out of his pineapple house, Gary in his arms. The camera goes back to the waiting room with SpongeBob still sitting with tears in his eyes. A fish in a doctor's coat came out and walks to SpongeBob. "Is he alright, Doc?" SpongeBob says, trying not to stutter. "The snail food that he congested had essence of rat poison in it. He had consumed too much of the food. I'm sorry, SpongeBob," the doctor says, putting a fin on SpongeBob's shoulder. SpongeBob begins to cry loudly, so loud that the camera panned to outside of Bikini Bottom. The screen faded to black. Then the screen came back to SpongeBob sitting in his house with Sandy and Patrick and a couple of Krabby Patties. But something was different about SpongeBob. He looked thinner, like he had not eaten for about a week. "Hey Sandy," Patrick began. "Don't you think SpongeBob looks different?" "He lost Gary," Sandy said. "Give it some time. Here, SpongeBob." She gave SpongeBob a Krabby Patty. "This'll cheer you up for sure." It switched to SpongeBob's perspective and showed the patty in his hand. It slowly morphed into a small Gary. "Meow," the Gary in SpongeBob's imagination said. It switched out of SpongeBob's perspective and he started to cry loudly and uncontrollably. Sandy and Patrick tried to calm him down with no success. Squidward bursts through the door and screams, "Will you cut it out?" SpongeBob's crying didn't stop. Patrick got up and yelled at Squidward, "Do you have any idea what happened? Gary died last week. SpongeBob is sad and you come here and scream at him?" Which was very unlike Patrick's character. Squidward came back at Patrick, yelling at him, "Gary died? Why couldn't it be SpongeBob who died? The world would be a lot calmer and I would be happier than I am now. Or why couldn't it be you who died, Patrick? We have enough retards in Bikini Bottom alone." That line was very dark, especially for Squidward. They've never said retard in the show before. But after he said that, SpongeBob started crying and got up. This is where it went downhill fast. "If you don't get the hell out of my house right now, Squidward, I'm going to kill you!" SpongeBob screams at Squidward, acting completely serious. Squidward didn't seem scared of him screaming. "Oh yeah? What are you going to do? Hit me with your tears?" Squidward said, laughing after he said that. SpongeBob finally lost it. He got up, ran up on Squidward, leaped up into the air, and jumped onto him. He started punching Squidward in the face, clawing at him. Sandy and Patrick tried to get SpongeBob off of him, but he just kept attacking him, pushing the two away when they tried to pull him off. Sandy threw a punch at SpongeBob, knocking him off of Squidward. When SpongeBob got punched, Squidward, who had a bruised nose, scratch marks all over his body, pieces of his shirt torn off, and with a black eye, teared up, trembling with fear, yelled, "Get me away from him!" and ran out of the pineapple house. He ran into his own house and boarded the entire building up. SpongeBob started to cry uncontrollably again and ran upstairs to his room, then slammed the door shut. Sandy and Patrick ran upstairs and Sandy told him to open the door. SpongeBob didn't answer, so Sandy just told Patrick, "We should probably leave." He agreed and they left. A title card appeared reading 2 weeks later, and then it transitioned to Sandy and Squidward in front of SpongeBob's house. Squidward's nose was almost healed from the bruising, but he still had some injuries on his body. "You think SpongeBob will be okay with me being here, Sandy?" Squidward said in a calm voice. "Oh, sure, Squidward. He's probably over it by now." "He's had to have cheered up a little bit," Sandy said. "But he hasn't been to work in 3 weeks. I'm not sure about this, Sandy." Sandy knocked on the door, but it slowly creaked open. The living room was dark, with the only light being the static of the television screen. "SpongeBob?" Squidward yelled. No response. "Hey, SquarePants, you still here?" Sandy yelled. Still no response. "He's probably still asleep," said Squidward. "At 3:30 p.m. on a Tuesday?" Sandy told Squidward. They decided to go upstairs to see if he was in his room. "Hey, SquarePants, are you in here?" Sandy said. Once again, no response. Squidward knocked on the door. No response. "Open the door, Squidward," Sandy said. Squidward did as she said. When he opened the door, he gasped and froze. "What is it, Squidward?" Sandy said, very confused. Squidward started stuttering, but finally got the word out. "SpongeBob!" Sandy looked into the room and screamed, "Oh my god, SpongeBob!" The camera panned to a shot of SpongeBob with a noose around his neck, if you could call it that, with a chair sitting next to SpongeBob's hanging body on its side. That was the final shot of the episode as the credits rolled. I was in shock. I didn't know what to think. Was this supposed to be an actual episode? I had no idea what to say. I took the DVD out of the player and put it back where it was before. My dad never found out that I watched the DVD. I believe that SpongeBob episode is the current running episode, Gary Come Home. So, yeah, that was Goodbye Gary. I know it was really corny at times, especially the retard part. But for the future, I'm probably gonna look for some scarier Lost episodes. I know there are a lot of just bad ones that aren't scary at all, but I have read some really good ones. And if you guys do want me to read more creepypastas later on, then let me know. But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos. Give a thumbs up and comment below, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.